Hello, welcome. So today we are here to de-influence or provide alternatives to AI in language learning. So I am seeing AI obviously everywhere. I get emails like a couple times a month to promote AI-powered apps. I see videos of how people are using AI to learn languages, and I will say I'm not here to condemn anyone for using AI. I do use ChatGPT in one step in making my subtitles, and it has made the subtitle process go from something that takes minimum an hour per video to 15 minutes max. But I think it's something that we need to be mindful of using responsibly. There are a lot of really negative environmental impacts of AI. I will have links below to some things, and I will say I've seen people, and I understand the impulse of looking at what they say about AI and being like, what is the big deal? But when you think about making it a part of your routine or using it regularly, that becomes really significant. And if you think about, a lot of times you have to ask it multiple times or slightly change, clarify things. So even a single use of it might require more than one search. And that's not even in thinking about apps that might use it differently or more so than just a search. And it's not just the water use, it's not just the carbon use, it's also the fact that the processing centers, both to train the AI and to actually use it, are requiring additional electronics to be created because they obviously need these computers to search. So that is increasing the amount of chips and everything that are being created that are impacting people in the Congo and just all around the world, more e-waste. Just in general, it's a very intensive, very energy intensive, water intensive process that is in large part unnecessary for what we're using it for. It also is not very good. Obviously, it can be really useful, and I don't want to, completely discount it. But especially when you're learning a language, you don't know whether it's right or wrong usually. So you are inherently the worst possible user of this AI because you don't know whether it is giving you correct information or not. You can't depend on AI to teach you anything. And I know that everybody knows that, and they will say, make sure you're verifying it. But then why are you using it at all? We have the entire world at our fingertips. We really don't need ChatGPT or some AI-powered thing in order to access it. And if you are learning, it's kind of like a catch-22 of, if you're learning a language with really scarce resources, the AI that exists for that language probably also sucks because there wasn't enough language material to accurately train the language model, because what we're using are, for the most part, not actually AI, they are just large language models. And so they're just consuming everything that's out there in that language and then spitting it back out to you. So if there's not enough material in that language to train the model well, then it's not going to be good. And even the limited amount that I've used it in Spanish, it has made errors, not necessarily in Spanish, because if you tell it to focus on the language, usually it does focus pretty well on the language. So when I've had it correct texts before, it will correct my text into something that is an incorrect statement, that is a false statement. And again, obviously you can look at that and fix that, but it just goes to show you that even in a language like Spanish, which is definitely going to be one of the better languages available, English obviously being by far the best one available, it's still making mistakes. So imagine a language that doesn't have a lot of resources, that doesn't have a lot of content online to train it on. Your results are going to vary dramatically. So just something to think about. But anyway, mostly what I wanted to focus on, other than putting this thought out for people to consider their AI usage was alternatives. So the alternative to AI is people. We are all out here learning languages. We can be ChatGPT for each other, and we are already doing that. Okay, so the first thing that I think people use ChatGPT for the most, and is the thing that I have tried it out the most is in corrections. Write a text or something, and then you ask ChatGPT to correct it for you. This is obviously super convenient, not always completely accurate, but most people know that already. It is nice in that it's immediate, which is not always something that you can get from another person. But there are lots of places online where this happens organically. So journaly.com is one that I have used a lot and am continuing to use now. Of course, this will vary by language on how available corrections are, but it does support quite a lot of languages, and you just post your text and people can mark it up, leave comments, etc. And then obviously the kind of implicit understanding is that you will also go and correct things in your own languages or language so that the community stays active and everything. Another one that I just joined is LangCorrect, and that's almost exactly the same concept. Obviously, you could use an exchange app or something like HelloTalk where there's forums. And another one that might be good, especially for particular languages, is Reddit. There are multiple subreddits that are like Right Streak Spanish, Right Streak German, whatever, or if you can find a language learning subreddit that allows posts asking for corrections, there's another option. Using AI for conversations. This is especially prevalent as a suggestion since the kind of voice models of ChatGPT came out or got better, whatever. And again, it does have the advantage of being relatively barrier-free, although I think the better ones are paid. But anyway, if you are doing written conversations, you could do a topic generator, get to know you question lists to respond to. Obviously, there's always the option of paid tutors, and there's language exchange apps, HelloTalk, Tandem, etc. There's also Discords. I think the Mr. Solace Discord is really active. There's A Dreaming Spanish if you're learning Spanish. Refold, I think, has Discords. You could also join Discords that are hobby related in your target language. So if you find a YouTuber in a niche like gaming or something that you enjoy and join their Discord, then, you obviously have a built-in common interest with the people that you're trying to talk to. Places like meetup.com, they don't always have to be in-person events. Sometimes there are virtual events on there where you could find like virtual language exchanges or something like that. Then finding resources. So this could either be give me a list of the most popular resources for learning Spanish, or what are good natively written German books for B1 learners, or even content creation. So like, please write me a story in Russian using only the 500 most common words or whatever. Again, for most languages, the content already exists. And if it doesn't exist in a relatively easy to find area, there's going to be a real concern that AI is not going to be doing a good job of creating it for you. As far as finding resources, obviously there's content creators that make videos or blog posts or social media posts full of resources for their particular languages. There's also all kinds of websites. I made a video one time about how I find media. So there's websites like Natively, LingoTrack, letterboxd for movies, storygraph or goodreads for books. You can look up charts for top movies, podcasts, books, whatever the case might be in the country that you are, targeting. Obviously, also Discord, Reddit, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, whatever your chosen social media is. There's also going to be content creators or people posting about it, or you can post and ask for recommendations. That's, half of the content on Reddit is just, I really like XYZ, what's something like that? So yeah, just some things to keep in mind about conscious use of AI or large language models, making sure that we are being wise users if we decide to use it at all. I think also something that I'm currently working on is it's being integrated in so many other services and apps. So like I use Closemaster off and on, and I saw the other day that if you click on explanation for a sentence, it runs ChatGPT and it tells you at the bottom that this summary was generated by ChatGPT, but I did it several times and it wasn't very useful for one thing. But then before I scrolled down and saw that, so I am going to be that obnoxious consumer that emails them like, hey, really don't like this feature. But again, with the thinking about using it all the time, if you are doing, dozens of flashcards and you click that 4 or 5 times in the course of one study session, that's a lot of resources that you've just thrown away just without even thinking about it. It's not that serious when you just see it for one use, but when you're thinking about how it is pervading our entire existence at this point, it is really concerning, and I think it's a poor use of resources for the results that you get. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.